Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Human Energy Show. I'm your host, Yvonne Durasso, and I am joined today for the first time with my co-host, Dr. Marie Celestine. And now going to introduce our guest shortly, but I just want to pause a few questions and a statement I would say. The difference in life is how we let things define us, what we let control us,
Mhm.
what we choose to control, what we what we can have control us. We can have a life with purpose, strength, and a great meaning. That is if we decide that what we are going to do. Today, my next guest, Dan Mccrory, will talk to us about his life and how he has been dealing with Parkinson disease. He has a great story to share with us. But before we do so, I will now introduce my co host, Dr. Marie Celestin. How are you, Dr. Marie?
I'm great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to
Oh my
you.
goodness. Happy New Year.
And
Yeah,
for the whole week, that's what we're going to say.
I know
Happy
the
New Year,
whole week.
right?
Yes. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate and keep saying it. And I love people are so happy and festive. And it's new beginning. And I love that idea how everyone is just ready to start fresh.
Yes. And I think we should say Happy New Year every day
Every day.
until the next New Year,
Yes.
2023.
And just to have breath. I feel like saying that every time I'm up. I'm like, oh my God. Happy day. It's a great day to be alive. So thank you.
Awesome. And my amazing guest, Dan Mccrory. How are you, sir? Can you hear me, Dan?
Excellent. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome, awesome. And I know you're
Loud
in
and clear.
California. How's California weather treating you?
Weather's great.
Awesome, awesome. I'm so happy to have you on our
It's
show
colder than we're
today.
used to, but I can't complain because we're in it.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm so happy to have you on the show. I know we had a little bit
Me
of
too.
technical difficulties, but you know what? That's the beauty of having live shows.
Yes.
We can expect technical problems and just deal with it.
Roll with it. Expect the unexpected when you go
That's true.
live.
Absolutely, absolutely. So then,
Yep.
and again, I'm happy to have you, and we had this scheduled for a while
That's
now. Would
for
you
sure.
tell the audience, those who know who you are, who is Dan Mccrory? If I say your last name correctly, Dan Mccrory. I think we're having a little bit sound issue.
Yeah, you say it a lot better than some people. Uh, okay. I'll keep trying. How's that? Um,
Yes, I can hear you.
I
I can hear you.
am somebody, I worked for 18 for 37 years and I ran for political office and I was a union. I've tried all these different things to make the world a better place.
Make the world a better place. I like that.
Yeah, that's
And how
great.
are we doing to make? What are we doing to make the world a better place? Then.
I'm writing books. I've been a writer all my life, but I worked at the phone company, the 9 to 5 to pay the bills. And now that I'm retired, I can do what I really always wanted to do, which is books.
Awesome. And what are the subject areas you write about?
I started off with this one, Capitalism Killed the Middle Class, as a way of
Mm,
showing the history of how we've gradually over the years lost a lot of our rights and became more about corporations and the wealthy.
mhm.
So I dealt with those issues. And then during COVID, the first round of COVID, I was sitting around with nothing to do, so I thought I'd write my first novel, which is You'll Forever Be My Always. And this is a book
Ooh.
that's near and dear to me. And this one took 4 years. This one took 4 because it dealt with Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm. Which we want to talk to you about today. And by the way, I love the title of your book. You Will Forever Be My Always.
Yeah.
So why did you come up with that title?
I stole it.
You borrowed it from where?
I saw it every. I was in Home Goods and I saw there's some blankets and pillows and knives even. And I said, "This was a book. What would it be about?" And so it gave me a chance to tell my story.
Okay. Now, your book, who did you write it for?
Well, writers may not always tell you this, but the first person that they're writing the book for is themselves. They want to figure out some problem in their life or some way to deal with something. Right, Dr. Marie?
I agree. Yes. Self. And then share that. But was that always the case, or was something else inspired you?
And then, I'm selfish. I do think it's the way that I deal with issues that at the time don't make a lot of sense, or no resolution or solution is readily available. So I work it out with my brain and my computer.
And I can agree with what you said about writers write for themselves first. And many times we write something that is a challenge for you, something that you're dealing with, something you're trying to understand. And by writing about it, you're telling yourself you are making the correction in yourself and hoping to help others correct it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think other time it's like trying to make it make sense. For me, it's just make it make sense. Certain things you experiencing where it makes sense on the page, right? Where sometimes you go through it and it feels like you watching it while it's happening, but on the page it's almost like you can relive that story, but also share that where others can also get a message through your story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So as far as the disease, then the Parkinson disease, so when did that start? When did you start dealing with
Exactly. And there's a lot of facets of. Go ahead. Yes.
When did you start dealing with that?
About 7 to 8 years ago, I noticed my thumb was twitching when I wasn't paying any attention. But as soon as I looked at it, it would stop. Which about 7 years ago. And there's also my face now, but as far as it's a very individual thing. Different people have different symptoms and things like that, and so it's a very individual kind of disease, and you have to deal with it on an individual basis. So, I mean, there's a couple of common things like the tremor, but that's about it. And I've tried to explain that all in my book so that you see a progression.
Mm-hmm. So how can the book help someone who's either has a family member recovering from the disease or they have it themselves? So how can the book help them?
Well, it makes them feel less alone. I looked at before I wrote this book. I looked out there to see if there's other books about it, and they were all nonfiction. There wasn't anything that dealt with it in a humorous way, in a way that gives you a chance to say, "Whoa, somebody else is going through this also." And that was one of my intentions of the book, to show that a lot of us are in the same boat together. Because I think 4 million, no, I think it's 1 million in the United States that are dealing with
10
Parkinson's.
million global.
Oh my
And
goodness,
it's supposed to be an
1
epidemic
million?
coming up in a few years.
Ooh, that's a huge number.
Yeah,
It is. And it's 10 million global, actually, which is even bigger
exactly.
globally.
Yeah.
So is that something that is genetic?
In some cases, it is. I don't know if you've seen all the TV commercials lately about some insecticide that's supposed to be affecting a lot of people. And to tell you the truth, in my case, I don't know how I got it.
Mm.
Hmm. So now back to the title of your book, and again, it's
Mhm.
interesting. You will forever be my always. Who is this you are talking about?
Mm.
Um, in the case of the book, it's 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 the main character and his wife. He's cheated on her for many years. Friends can't stand him. So when he finds out he has this disease, he thinks he's dying, and
Hmm.
he tries to make it up to everybody so that he can go to heaven or at least make amends with all the people whose lives he's ruined along the way. So that's it's about being closer together, and in my case, it fits also. So
Mm, I see. Yeah, you were gonna say something, Dr. Marie.
Yeah, no, I mean, and thinking it just remind me of a story of redemption. You know, when you have that wake up call, and then it's like everything,
yeah,
either everything makes sense, and then you realize I gotta make a shift, right? And so all of a sudden you see everything you've done wrong, but perhaps some things you've done right, but that you still have a chance to to literally redeem yourself if that's even possible, but be willing to ask for forgiveness and talk to others, and be more humble. I think sometimes wake up calls or diagnosis kind of put life in perspective.
Yeah. So do you think a chronic disease
exactly.
creates
This guy's a total
fear?
jerk in the game.
So you think the disease makes you like afraid and that you're
Fear,
gonna
yeah,
die
fear,
and that you have to
depression.
making sure that you're okay, that you're safe. If you die today, you're gonna be safe. Awesome, awesome. Now, would you care share with us like a paragraph in the book that is meaningful to you, interesting to you, that you want to share with us?
Gee, I could probably pick just about anywhere.
Just like open the page, open the book.
Um, okay, this yeah, the book is page 61. He always forgets to take his medicine. So it says, um, Tina handed Charlie his pills and a glass of water. He tossed the meds into his mouth and took a big swig of water to gulp them down. Thanks. If anyone needs me, I'll be writing. Pain in his hips and the base of his spine was an everyday thing. It made him lean to the right, bringing on the political jokes. He tried to close the door gently, but it got away from him and made much more noise than he had intended. Tina looked at John, which is his sister-in-law brother, with concern. Maybe you shouldn't make so many jokes about his Parkinson. He says, "Are you kidding?" He hides his fear behind the humor. And she says, "He's not laughing."
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah, that's a great passage. I mean, has humor and laughter helped you as well since the diagnosis?
And a lot of ways, I'm like Charlie Wise. I even when I'm in the hospital, I try to make the nurses laugh. I because being around people that are gloomy and doomy doesn't do anything to make
Yeah.
me better.
Mhm, mhm. I think when you bring humor in some of the worst situation that's going on in your life, and I think it creates some type of energy, some type of healing. You pretty much
Mm.
creating your own healing when you bring humor. I
Mhm.
remember my dad, who passed away a year ago, exactly a year ago in January of last year. I remember when he used to punish us, he would punish us with humor. He would say, "Come in,
Hmm.
you gonna I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that you go through some really tough time right now. And the way he would say, the faces that he would make, and he would make you laugh. And as a kid, I used to hate that, but he would punish you. He would punish you with a belt, but he will tell you some joke at the same time. And even if after you go through the pain, you'll be like, oh man, this old man is funny,
Mm.
and I could never understand why he did that. But as I start growing up, I'm like, you know what? Maybe when you go through pain, you can introduce humor to it.
I think also that people associate punishment with anger. It was nice that he showed you that it wasn't anger, that it was out trying to correct something.
Out of love.
Yeah, but you
Exactly.
learned that in hindsight, right? In hindsight, not when it was happening,
Right, right.
because it doesn't make sense when it's happening.
It doesn't make sense. I mean,
Exactly.
it did not make sense for a very long time.
Mhm.
Like, why did it? I mean, he's telling me joke at the same time, and he's spanking me. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. But I learned after that. You
That's
know
a
what?
unique approach.
That
I'll tell
was
you.
love correction. He wasn't angry. It looked angry, but
Right.
he wasn't angry at all. He just making corrections and bring humor to it and making me laugh.
Yeah,
There you go.
and that's tough.
Yeah,
But
it is.
lessons, you learn the lessons either
Yes.
way. What have you learned about yourself, Dan, during the pandemic?
Well, actually, I've been observing the outside world quite a bit, and all the insanity that's bubbling to the surface. People are not acting normal. And I don't know. Are we ever going to get back to what normal was before this?
Mhm.
I myself have been sort of, I've sort of sequestered myself from the world so that I could concentrate on these things. And luckily, I don't have a job I have to go to. And I deal with the outside world as little as possible because I know there's some craziness out there. I've seen too many things that have been happening lately. I've seen a lot of people die that shouldn't have died. And it worries me for the general population. What we're going to be like.
Mhm, mhm. So, what do you think people should do? I mean, right now, when you look at the struggles with the pandemic, people dying, not just here in the US, but all over the world. So, what do you think people should do to really bring a solution to at least mentally help people get better?
I think we have to rely on our fundamental humanity. I think we need to reach out, and sometimes when we don't feel like it or afraid, we need to reach out to our fellow humans and say, "I'm glad you're making it through this." And
Mhm.
we get together. If we fight this together, we can come out the other end and be healthy and wiser.
Mhm, mhm. So you think we need to come together as people to really uh, heal the world? Interesting. I like that. I like that. I really do.
Yes.
Mhm. So this novel that you have right now, where do you have it available currently?
Anywhere in the world you can pick up a copy. I've got my local Barnes and Noble stocking on their shelves, but it's on Amazon. It's pretty much everywhere. So um, it's a story that needs to get out there. When I do book signings, I take along information brochures about Parkinson's to share to raise awareness because I think we're pretty close to a cure.
I
What do
hope
you
so.
think so?
I hope so. What would
Yes.
you say to someone who just get diagnosed?
Find a support group. don't be afraid and to let people see that you've got this little tick now, and don't because one of the things that I started to do that I stopped was I started being out in public a lot less, as I just mentioned. But you can't hide the disease. You just have to make people realize it's now a part of you.
Mm. Yeah, I can see some people hiding, right? Especially with the tremors. And then you don't know when it's going to happen, right? So you could be in public and you can't control it. And I think a lot of time we try to control things that there's nothing we can do. And so hiding it doesn't really do anything. And so a lot of people, and then it's not a visible disease, right? So I see a lot of time I was telling even now that it's when celebrities are affected that we realize, oh my goodness, this is still affecting a lot of people. Would you encourage other, I would say, survivors to also share their stories in their own way with friends, family, and the world?
Dan, are you there? Dan, we're not hearing you.
Oh, I think the screen may be frozen.
Dan, are you there?
Yeah, I think he may have agreed. That's what I heard.
And oh, it's froze.
Yeah, I think it's the screen. It happens.
Mm-hmm. Dan, we cannot hear you. Okay, so we cannot hear Dan.
So we may have to transition in the. Yeah, we'll wait because I think it's the screen with that one. Do you have a commercial for us today while we wait?
Yes, let's go to a short commercial break while we wait for Dan to come back. I think we having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll
The human race is unique. Despite our many differences, religion, beliefs, race, skin color, or personal prejudices, there's still one thing that holds our world together. We are all human. We have, however, failed to see the beauty in the uniqueness of humankind, and this is only because we have been blinded by hate, bigotry, envy, and fear. We have let hatred rule us, even divide us, and fear keeps us from fixing the mess. But it's time to wake up and see that everyone is created equal, perfect, and no different. Yes, it is true that people have been born into unequal circumstances, which oftentimes leads them to make choices either good or bad, but we are still the same regardless. At this point, you may be asking, how can this be? This book will help you find out how there are no differences at all. Hello there. You should know that no matter the color of your skin, race, gender, economic rank, sexual identity, or social status, we are all human before anything else. In our diversities, we can still achieve oneness. Hatred may have ripped us apart, but there is still a way to mend the tear if only we can fix ourselves first. Letting the uniqueness of the human race reflect inward, and then to the outside, healing the human race. It is important that we mend the tear, and more importantly, that we do it now. This book will serve as a guide to healing.
Hello, welcome back, Dr. Marie and Dan. Dan is having a little bit technical problem, so the connection is not very good. So we can definitely bring Dan back
Yes.
in the near future. His story is interesting because there are so many people in in our planet going through this disease. I didn't even know 1 million.
1 million, and then
1
10 million globally.
globally. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And people need to know, and people need to know also, just because they're going through some chronic illness, some disease, that should not define them. That should not define who they are. They can still pursue their dreams. They can still pursue whatever they need to pursue to become the best version of themselves. And I love this quote from my favorite superhero, Superman,
Favorite one ever.
Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve, and I love this quote about him. Uh, and
Hey,
I'll read
Dan.
it. Hello, then you back. He's not back.
No. Okay.
And I love this quote about Christopher Reeves that says, "When the unthinkable happens, the lighthouse is hope. Once we choose hope, everything is possible." And growing up in Haiti, and the word hope, that's a word that I used to hear every
A
single
lot.
day. L'espoir. Like
All the time.
all the time. It's just hope that something bad is not gonna happen.
Hmm.
Hope when the hurricane comes is not gonna take us. Hope, 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 hope. And until this day, and one of the things that keep me going is hope that everything is gonna be okay.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm. That's
and
a whole affirmation right there. Everything is possible.
everything is possible.
Yeah.
And I look at so many other people like Nick Vujicic. I hope I say his name right. Nick Vujicic. He was born with no arms and no legs, but
Mm-hmm.
he did not let that define him. And
Yeah.
he said himself, "There's nothing that he cannot do. He plays
Right.
soccer, golf, he swims,
Anything.
anything."
Anything. And I think that's what I love with, Dan was sharing, like how you stay healthy
Mhm.
while you living with a disease. Because I think sometimes we don't have those. I mean, many people are dealing with certain chronic illnesses, some silently dealing with it, but you can still have a healthy life. You can still have a full life. And I love the fact that he's still being creative, like he's writing, and he's sharing his story as well with other people. And I'm hoping, here's your favorite word, hoping those of you listening would be inspired by that, because you know how many people waited just like him after the job, after they retired, after working, who knows, like 30, 40 years to
Mhm.
say, finally, I'm going to do the things I've always wanted to do my whole life and write a novel and write a book and write more books,
Mhm.
while you still have the chance to do so. So that's admirable.
Yeah. And sometimes people they have a disease, they give up in life,
Hmm.
but then he did not do that.
He's a
He did not
fighter
let
now fighting.
he kept fighting. He kept fighting when 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 he felt that he was going down, he said, "You know what? If I gotta go down, I'm gonna go down fighting."
Hmm.
So I appreciate that about you, Dan.
That's the
And
spirit.
yes, and I love your spirit and I love your energy. It's unfortunately we cannot see you right now, but I love the energy when you go through a disease like this and you keep fighting and you keep pushing, you keep going forward, keep moving.
With a little humor, which I love too. I think, Maya says the same thing, just living life with that humor and not
Mhm.
take things seriously. I hope
Yes.
you agree, Dan, with that.
Dan, are you back? Can you hear us now? Awesome, awesome. So it's about time that we end our show, Dan. And
You do.
unfortunately, we had some major
I
technical
don't suppose you can hear me
difficulties.
now.
Uh, yes, I
Yes.
I can hear
can.
you
Yes,
loud
I
and
can.
clear.
But I will. Yes, it's clear now. But I will let you, you know, conclude for us and give us something. What do you hope
Yes.
to see about this disease that is affecting a lot of people, 10
Hmm.
million people globally? what do you hope to see happen about this disease to put an end to it?
Mm.
Dan, can you hear us?
I hope to see that. Yes, I would like to see in our lifetime a cure for this. And I think the way medicine's making leaps and bounds, that's very, yes, it's very possible to happen.
Of course, of course,
Can
of
you hear
course.
me?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Yes,
I
we
can.
can.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dan. It was great having you on our show
This
today.
will
And I
happen.
know, yes, yes.
We have a
So,
cure. Yes.
yes, we would love to have you again. And
Can you hear me?
and yes, I can. And I hope that people can pick up a copy
Thank you.
of your book, either share it with a family member or friend who's going through something like, like, like this type of disease, because with humor, I believe there's so many things that you can do. And I'm the type of person, people say, "Oh my gosh, you have so much humor and you just laugh and smile all the time." And you know what? I tell them, you know what? This is a gift. And God has blessed me with a gift to smile, to share a smile. Because
Mm.
when you share a smile with other people, you just never know. You just never know what the smile can do,
Right.
to the one who receives it. So, and I like humor, and I like that you bring humor in your writing, because that not only makes it interesting, but also it brings healing to the soul. So I appreciate you joining us today. And Dr. Marie, do you have any final say?
Final say, I mean, I would say just be encouraged by Dan's story, because a lot of time we don't hear it. And now that you know someone can live and still be healthy and tap into their passion or even their purpose before it's too late. And so a lot of us, we wait, right? And Dan didn't wait. So he keeps sharing the story, letting other people know, but sharing your story and leaving that as part of your legacy. And so there's no right time. So I'm glad the wake up call, tap into his creativity and say, let me write that story now, and share that with the world. So I'm grateful for that, Dan.
Awesome, awesome. And we will end with this quote from Dr. Martin Luther King.
Ooh,
We must accept final disappointment, but never lose infinite hope.
never losing infinite hope.
Thank
Hope
you
is the
very
word
much.
of the day.
The
Hope
word
and
of the
humor.
day is hope.
Hope and humor. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you,
Thank
Dan.
you.
You have a great day, and I know you have a lovely weather in California. So I would love for you to share a little bit with us about the weather in that you have down in California, because it's cold here in
Thank you.
Oklahoma. And Dr. Marie is in Massachusetts. It's even colder there.
Yes, it's Arctic. It's winter. It's really winter. So
Okay.
All right. You guys have a nice evening.
thank you.